The acrid stench of ionized metal clung to the recycled air of the Lorath salvage cruiser, Seeker of Truths. Captain Vixel paced the command deck, his four compound eyes fixated on the flickering holographic display. An ancient ship, or what remained of it. The cruiser drifted closer to the wreckage, a skeletal leviathan against the glittering backdrop of a distant star cluster. Vixel had spent a lifetime seeking relics of lost civilizations, but this felt different.
Primitive design,
chirped his science officer Lyrax.
likely from one of the younger races. Pre-warp, carbon-based hull. A curiosity, nothing more.
Normally, Vixel would agree. The archaic lines of the ship screamed of the early spacefaring days. But sensors told a different tale. Signal anomalies. Deep in the wreckage. Vixel rasped, antennae twitching in agitation. Life support systems offline. Yet trace energy readings defy any known classification.
Radiation bleed from a broken reactor, perhaps?
Lyrax trilled, a dismissive edge to the question. Unlikely. Readings are stable and remarkably localized. Scan again. High resolution. This relic may hide more than it first appears. Vixel relished these moments. The thrill of the unknown, the scent of ancient secrets just out of reach. The Lorath were renowned for their historical acumen, an entire civilization devoted to uncovering the fragments of lost species. Yet something about this ship, the faint electromagnetic pulse that still throbbed beneath its battered hull, sent a shiver down his chitinous exoskeleton. The first boarding party materialized onto the wreckage. Their suits crackled with static, the ship's ancient energy field a jarring dissonance against Lorath technology. With each step, warped metal screamed beneath their boots, the once mighty dreadnought reduced to warped steel and severed conduits. Vixel monitored their progress from the Seeker, directing teams towards promising anomalies. Days crept by. The crew grew restless. Relics rarely revealed themselves easily. Yet Vixel felt an undercurrent of excitement. Every scan whispered of the impossible.
Captain?
Lyrax's voice crackled over the comms, an unfamiliar tremor laced through the usual calmness.
You must see this!
A feed materialized on Vixel's display. The interior of the ship's command center, or what remained of it, blasted consoles, skeletal command chairs, and upon the cracked central holo display, a schematic flickered to life. Impossible, whispered Vixel, his mandibles clicking in shock. The schematic displayed a hyperdrive, yet unlike any he had ever seen. It pulsed with theoretical energy yields that sent his scientific mind reeling. Pre-warp. Yet this design, it's generations beyond our own. Lyrax's voice crackled with excitement.
Other systems too, Captain. Weapons schematics, targeting ranges we can barely comprehend. Power generation of the scale.
Enough, Vixel snapped, a flicker of unease snaking through his excitement.
Bring me a data core, anything intact.
This was no longer merely a historical curiosity. This was a fundamental shift in understanding. It hinted at forgotten heights of achievement, perhaps a rival to the Lorath's own. He peered at the schematic again, its elegant lines belying the sheer power it contained. Humans. The name echoed through Lorath histories. A race considered technologically stunted, long vanished from the galactic stage. Could this be a remnant of their former glory? A glory the Lorath could now claim as their own? The data core was a sliver of blackened metal, crisscrossed with hairline fractures. To most, it would have been worthless. To Vixel, it was a treasure trove. He secluded himself in his quarters, poring over fragmented data with relentless focus. Images materialized on his holo display, star charts of unfamiliar systems, cryptic log entries filled with obsolete technical jargon. But there were gems among the debris. FTL jump coordinates, Vixel whispered. He matched them against known star charts, his eyes widening in disbelief. It was impossible. The single ship had traveled further than any documented Lorath expansion. And look here, Lorax's voice crackled from his personal comm unit. Traces of AI subroutines, not fully sentient, but adaptive, learning. This is decades ahead of our own protocols. The awe in his subordinate's tone was unmistakable. For Vixel, the allure of the ship had solidified into obsession. Piece by piece, the images of these long-gone humans began to shift in his mind. Not primitives, but perhaps pioneers, explorers who in their ambition had pushed boundaries the Lorath had never dared breach. There was a kinship he sensed, a relentless curiosity mirrored across time and species. Yet beneath that professional reverence, a darker emotion bloomed. Envy. The Lorath were masters of the known. Their place in the Galactic Order was secure. But this relic, this testament to human ingenuity, it threatened to unseat them, to remind them that dominance was fleeting. Vixel brushed aside the doubt. This was an opportunity, a chance to leapfrog his own civilization by understanding the secrets of the past. He keyed his comm. Lyrax, prepare a second salvage team and alert the High Council. We may have just rewritten history. News of the discovery spread through the Lorath fleets like a shockwave. The High Council, usually cautious and dismissive of unproven claims, dispatched a research vessel with unprecedented haste. It docked with the Seeker a mere cycle later, spilling forth a delegation of the finest Lorath scientific minds. Vixel, despite his own expertise, found himself relegated to the sidelines. "Primitive workmanship," scoffed arch-scholar Ilara, her antennae twitching in a dismissive gesture so universal it transcended species. "An evolutionary fluke, nothing more. Those power readings are undoubtedly measurement errors." She gestured for a datapad, dismissing Vixel's carefully compiled reports. The days blurred into a haze of frustration. Every attempt to explain the anomalies, to demonstrate the intricate workings of the human technology, was met with condescension, thinly veiled as academic discourse. It was as if the High Council scholars were blind to the potential, willfully ignorant of the disruptive truths the relic contained. Late one night, driven by a mix of exhaustion and defiance, Vixel returned to the data core. Sleep was impossible. The fractured fragments of human knowledge played out across his mind's eye, whispering of missed possibilities. In a flash of desperation, he did the unthinkable. He isolated a code fragment from the ship's logs, a series of subroutine commands governing basic navigation. With trembling hands, he tapped into the Seeker's own helm interface, bypassing safety protocols honed over generations. The hybrid system creaked in protest as it wrestled with the archaic instructions, but to Vixel's astonishment, the ship's navigation engines thrummed to life. On the holo display, a single star system pinpricked itself into existence, the coordinates pulled directly from the ship's decaying memory banks. Vixel stared at the star system, glowing innocently yet pregnant with possibility. The risk was immense. To defy the Council, to tamper with the very fabric of Lorath technological doctrine, it was professional suicide, an act of heresy that could see him stripped of his rank or worse. Yet, to remain idle, while relics of such profound importance were dismissed as an affront to the spirit of discovery that pulsed at his very core? He was Lorath, a scholar and an explorer. The path before him was clear, even if it led into darkness. "Lyrax," he rasped into his comm, the tension humming through his voice. "Override the safety locks. Prepare the ship for an FTL jump." He could practically feel the shockwaves of his order reverberate through the quiet ship. "Sir, the High Council, "I am well aware of the consequences," Vixel replied, his tone sharp. "But the consequences of inaction are far greater. If we are to truly understand that, we must bear witness. Prepare the crew. Destination, those coordinates." Alarms blared as the Seeker lurched into action, a crew scrambling with a mixture of fear and anticipation. The jump itself was unlike anything Vixel had experienced. A jolt, a blinding flash, and then nothing. The swirling vortex of hyperspace was disorienting, yet eerily familiar, as if the ship itself remembered, echoing the journeys of its creators. When they materialized back into normal space, it was an utterly alien vista. A single fiery star dominated the view, its corona lashing out like fiery tendrils. But it was what orbited it that stole Vixel's breath. A ring world, a colossal megastructure of such scale it defied comprehension. "By the ancients," Lyrax's voice was hushed with awe. Was this where they came from?" If this was a mere outpost, a testament to a vanished ship, then what must their homeworld have been like? Vixel felt a humbling wave of vertigo, the scale of human history suddenly magnified 1,000-fold. "Approach cautiously," Vixel instructed, his voice tight. "Scan for any signs of activity. I doubt we're dealing with a living civilization, but But the unknown was a vast tapestry, and it would be foolish to rule out any possibility. Minutes crept by, each scan revealing only silence and the mournful echo of a past grandeur. The ring world was scored with impact craters, sections of its perfect curve ruptured and drifting into the void. Whatever had brought ruin to this place was ancient and catastrophic.
Captain, I'm picking up a signal.
Lyrax chirped, a current of unease beneath his usually analytic tone.
It's weak, garbled, but definitely artificial, and it's coming from the surface.
Vixel hesitated. This was no longer a historical dig. It was a trespass onto potentially hallowed ground.
Triangulate the source and prepare a landing team. Myself, you, and 2 security.
The descent through the rim world's atmosphere was turbulent, the scorched landscape below a patchwork of rusted metal and overgrown craters. The signal led them to a colossal wreck, a ship not unlike their discovery, but of a scale that dwarfed even the ring world above. The security detail hovered warily as Vixel stepped onto scorched metal. The air hung hot and still, laced with the metallic tang of ozone. The signal pulsed stronger, drawing them into the gaping maw of the ruined ship. And there it was, not in the gutted command centers nor the shattered engine rooms, but deep within the crew quarters. A single flickering datapad, its display emitting a faint, mournful glow. Vixel knelt, reaching out with trembling hands. The display was etched with symbols, a language as unknown to him as the human technology had once been. But beneath that, a single image blazed with a heartbreaking clarity. A blue-green planet cradled in the blackness of space. Earth. The word throbbed in his mind, a beacon from across the gulf of time and extinction.
Captain, look!
Lyrax's voice crackled over the comm, laden with urgency.
External scans, there's a fleet approaching, and those signatures, they're not Lorath.
Vixel snapped out of his reverie, his mind reeling. Another alien race? Drawn here by the same mystery, or perhaps something far more sinister? Panic flared, threatening to cloud his judgment. He glanced back at the image of Earth, the lost world of these enigmatic explorers, and a cold determination settled in his gut.
Lyrax, get us airborne, mask our engine signature, and hold our position at the edge of the atmosphere, he ordered curtly. Until we know what we're facing, caution is our greatest weapon.
The Seekers shimmered back into the void, cloaked and silent, a ghost among the wreckage. From the safety of their vantage point, the new arrivals materialized, a flotilla of warships, sleek and predatory, their design utterly alien to Vixel's experienced eyes. Scanners buzzed, their results painting a chilling picture.
Weapons platforms beyond anything we've ever cataloged. The shields they could crack our hull like an egg.
Lyrax whispered in horrified fascination. Vixel shared his science officer's assessment. They were outmatched, hopelessly so.
Captain, they're initiating contact.
A warning flashed across Vixel's display. On screen, a face flickered to life, scaled, eyes like polished gemstones, and a predatory grin that sent shivers down Vixel's exoskeleton.
Greetings, Lorath.
The creature slithered, a translator approximating its Sibylline speech.
Intriguing finding you here, but unsurprising. Our sensors detected your primitive tinkering with the ruins.
A flick of its clawed hand encompassed not only the derelict ship, but the ring world beyond.
This system holds a great significance to our people, it continued. A testament to a fallen empire. You would do well to leave and erase all records of your presence here.
Vixel's antennae twitched with conflicting instincts. His years of study demanded respect for the ruins of elder civilizations, yet these predators, these scavengers, sought to erase even the memory of humanity's past achievements. To allow that was sacrilege, a betrayal of the very principles of exploration.
The builders of this testament, as you call it, may be gone, but their legacy is not yours to claim.
Vixel found his voice, firm and resonant despite the tremor he felt.
Your threats fall on deaf receptors.
The alien creature let out a hiss that could have been amusement or disdain.
Brave words, Lorath. But we are the strong, and this sector is ours by right of conquest. Those who preceded us, their weakness brought them to ruin.
It leaned in, its gemstone eyes flashing.
Do you share their fate?
Diplomacy, Vixel knew, was a dead end. These creatures understood only strength. His hand strayed to a hidden activator, a last resort protocol built into every Lorath vessel. Lyrax, I'm transmitting a beacon. Target the central power core of that derelict vessel. Overload sequence.
But, Captain, the resulting explosion...
Lyrax began, his voice laced with uncertainty. Their shields are formidable, yes, Vixel interrupted, but they are focused outward. An internal detonation of that magnitude will overwhelm their defenses, give us a window to escape. It was a gamble, a desperate one, but to do nothing was to condemn them both and dishonor the memory of the forgotten humans. He activated the sequence, hearing the ship's systems whine and protest as they were pushed well beyond their operational limits. Outside, the Skrong warships flickered into frantic activity, no doubt detecting the catastrophic energy buildup.
You fools!
The Skrong leader shrieked, its image dissolving into static as their defensive protocols scrambled for a response. The ruined ship detonated in a flash of blinding light. Vixel's vision dimmed, overloaded sensors screaming in protest even through his ship's countermeasures. Then came the shockwave, a silent tsunami of energy that made the Seeker groan in protest. When his vision cleared, the Skrong fleet was reduced to scorched and broken husks. The Seeker limped away from the devastated system, every system strained after the risky maneuver. Vixel found Lyrax hunched over the science console, his antenna drooping in exhaustion.
Damage report,
Vixel rasped, his voice raw.
Hull integrity at 50%, engines functional, but it will take weeks to reach Lorath space.
Lyrax replied, weariness in every syllable.
But we are alive, Captain, against all odds.
Vixel nodded, a hollow feeling echoing in his thorax. Victory had rarely tasted so bitter. To escape one predator, they had triggered the ruin of a monument, a silent tomb to a once great species. In the end, he thought grimly, perhaps humanity and the Skrong weren't so different, both reaching for the stars, both undone by reaching too far, and the Lorath caught in the crossfire. Are they truly any better?
Set course for home. Maximum warp,
Vixel ordered quietly. He turned towards his quarters, his steps heavier than ever. The discovery of the human legacy was transformative, but at a terrible price. The images of the ring world, of that single mournful image of Earth, and the echoes of the Skrong's predatory hisses wouldn't leave him anytime soon. Sleep was elusive, his dreams fractured visions of sleek warships and shattered worlds. Upon waking, Vixel found a summons from the High Council awaiting him. Undoubtedly, there would be a trial, likely disgrace or even exile. It was a consequence he was willing to bear. After all, hadn't the forgotten humans paid far more for less? Yet, upon entering the Grand Council chamber, he found not anger in the Arch-Scholar's multifaceted eyes, but a somber reverence.
Vixel,
Ilara began, her voice subdued.
We have reviewed your unorthodox findings. Your actions, while dangerous, were ultimately justified. True understanding often demands sacrifice.
He waited for the other shoe to drop, for accusations and recriminations, but none came.
From this day forth, Ilara continued slowly, let it be known that the Lorath stand not as inheritors of a dead past, but as its custodians. We will decipher the secrets of these vanished humans, not to surpass them, but to honor the flame of knowledge they carried.
The news of the human legacy spread across the Lorath worlds, not with the arrogance of conquerors, but with a newfound humility. Vixel, much to his own surprise, was not cast aside. Instead, the High Council appointed him as the head of a newly founded institute, dedicated solely to the translation and understanding of human technology and culture. He became, in a sense, a bridge between the two civilizations. The work was monumental, arduous, and endlessly captivating. The image of Earth found clutched amidst the ruins became a beacon. Humans, he realized, were not simply ambitious, nor were they reckless, as parts of the Council initially believed. They were tenacious, yes, driven by an insatiable curiosity that mirrored that of his own people. But where the Lorath often revered the old, humans, it seemed, were determined to forge the new. Deciphering their technology was an act of reverence and rivalry. The human knack for adaptive solutions, for pushing machines beyond their limits, was both terrifying and inspiring. Vixel found himself overseeing projects that made his former work seem trivial, replicating experimental human warp drives, translating fragments of philosophy, and reverse engineering ancient AI protocols so advanced they bordered on the metaphysical. Years bled into decades. The Institute grew, drawing in the finest Lorath minds. There were arguments, setbacks, and moments where the sheer gulf that separated the two species seemed insurmountable. Yet every breakthrough, no matter how small, was a vindication, a testament to both the ingenuity of the fallen humans and the relentless determination of their successors. Vixel, his once vibrant carapace now fading to a dull gray, felt the weight of time more keenly than any of his colleagues. He had become an elder, a scholar uniquely burdened by the knowledge of two extinct civilizations. Sometimes he wondered if the humans had felt a similar kinship with those who preceded them. If uncovering ancient relics had burdened them with the legacy of forgotten worlds. The day came when a younger colleague, antennas vibrant with excitement, rushed to him with a breakthrough message. They had decoded the image of Earth, coordinates, system specifications, even fragments of what seemed to be a welcome note, projected into the stars by a species that knew it may never be received. Vixel stared at the projection of the small blue marble swirling with clouds and life. This was their genesis, the birthplace of dreams that had stretched across the cosmos. With a trembling hand, he keyed in the coordinates into the Institute's most powerful transmitter. They would answer the human call across the abyss. It would not be a message of conquest, but of remembrance, a quiet acknowledgement of a legacy too breathtaking to be forgotten.